you know the Alien series? You watch the Alien series?
No.
People. My
Personally, I
God, it's
don't.
like they started a whole genre. My God, Alien they've had so many sequels since then. The first one came out, was it 70s or 80s?
Exactly. So do you
Well,
think it
the
might be
first one.
slightly old?
No, but my point is they've been making newer versions of it. So as I'm saying, a version.
Okay.
In fact, a new one just dropped. I want to say this year.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
new
Wow.
Alien movie that dropped this year. In fact.
Okay.
So anyway, the one I'm talking about is called Prometheus. It's very interesting. So Prometheus begins with um, the first scene is so interesting. It is the question of where did life come from. So in this movie, it's a movie, of course, it's science fiction. They basically show it as if an alien species, much more advanced than humans, arrive at Earth when there's no life, and they put their DNA into our water, which is why life comes out of. Making a story.
Water, yeah.
Anyway, fast forward. Now they fast forward. The human race has evolved. We're in space. We're doing all this crazy stuff, and one of the characters gets impregnated by this alien. So she wants to get it out of her system. There's a scene where she runs to basically the infirmary on the spaceship.
Yeah.
And all there is what's called a medical pod. And she programs it, and she jumps in and it closes it. And this thing is basically a robot
Yeah.
performs a C-section on her
Okay, wow.
to get that thing out of her. My point is, no human being. She just lay there. This thing sensed her. She programmed it and told it what kind of surgery she wants
would
performed.
need, yeah.
And it did everything for her.
You
Can
know,
you imagine a future where that's what it's going to be?
that's my favorite part about science fiction movies because you look at so much technology that you can't imagine right now.
Right.
But to even, think about maybe even after our lifetimes, maybe even 90 years from now to have something like that, that would be crazy. I would love to see that.
So it's a line I've been telling my wife almost every day for the last 1 week. I think for some reason I throw this out. I say to her, can you imagine 100 years ago if you told people on the street that in another 50 years you'd drive to this place called the airport and jump into a metal tube and fly halfway across the world? We'd have thought you're crazy.
Yeah.
But we all do it, and it's totally normal.
Yeah.
Right? So it could happen. So we were actually talking about robo-taxis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You heard of this company?
That was a conversation we were having over the outing because it's so interesting. I've been seeing so much of it over the summer.
Where did you see it?
Social media, all over social media.
So we were in San Fran in March.
Oh, okay.
So I rented a car, and we were driving into the city. And my son was also with me. He was in the backseat. And we were just pulling into the city. I think there was a traffic light, so I was slowing down for a traffic light. And I spotted one. So I told my wife and son, look to your right at that car that's pulling up. That's one of the new driverless cars.
Yeah.
You know, both of them said to me, stop pulling our legs. No. They got mad at me. They thought I was joking with them. I said, tell you what, I'm going to slow down. Look at the driver and tell me what color his hair is. Trick question, because there's
no driver. Yeah.
Driver. The front seat is empty.
Yeah.
From that moment, do you know, Zach started counting the number of driverless cars. In a span of, I think, 15 minutes, he counted over 20.
Oh, wow.
That was in San Fran. So this was in March. I just read this morning, in fact, they've just launched a service in New York. They've already launched it in Austin and Phoenix. I think last year they were doing 100,000 rides a week. They are currently at 250,000 rides per week.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So the conversation was, would you ever get into one of them? I was like, absolutely, I would. But my wife's like, oh, I don't know if I would.
And this is what I find to be so interesting because driverless cars are not even something that we considered to be possible when we were younger. So this is something that even if you told me 7 years ago that we're going to have driverless cars, I would think that's absolutely wild.
It's happening.
Yeah.
In fact, by the way, do you know who owns this company, Waymo?
No.
Google again.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Now, again, what I find interesting. So did you hear about this, about Apple wanting to make a car? They tried it, failed.
Yeah.
They spent over $1 billion with it.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think Apple wanted to make a car? What do you think what do you think is their motivation behind it?
I mean,
think about it. Think about what Apple already makes. Think about what we said earlier.
Yeah,
they make products that consumers
could it possibly be to have a car that could be integrated with Apple products you already own?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So an interesting thing happened to Apple a few years ago. If you look at the balance sheet, the amount of money they make from product sales versus services finally became equal.
Oh.
So for Apple, it made sense to make the car because if where they were seeing real growth was in the services side, which of course runs on products, but you needed both.
Yeah.
They kind of looked at the car as being a new product onto which they could put more services. And this is another product that you needed constantly. So you already have Apple AirPlay. Now, but imagine if your car itself is AirPlay. You step in and it knows you have an iPhone and it automatically connects to the car. That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Guess what Google is doing?
Oh, that makes so much
It's
sense.
Android,
Yeah.
right?
You already have Android
Yeah.
systems.
So the car's running on Android
Yeah.
or some version of it. You step in there with your Chromebook or your Android phone. It seamlessly integrates. But ultimately, what does Google do? Where do they make most of their money from?
Is it their browsers? Is it Chrome? No.
Ads.
Ads. Yeah.
Guess what's going to happen to the future driverless car? In fact, somebody predicts, we were talking about whether you will, what work will look like. Another thing that's going to happen, people are predicting, is that eventually transportation will become free.
Yeah.
Or basically, public transportation
will become free because of advertisements. Yeah.
because they will instead. So that
Just
throughout the
ads.
time you're riding in your whatever that free transportation is, you'll just be listening to ads.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this particular project, but this is a free water project where there's a company that has been packaging free water, and the reason they can do this is because the carton, instead of having any text on it, it has like several ads on it, and because of that, it like matches the same cost of production. That's why they give out this water free.
Interesting.
And so I spent my summer in Japan. I was in Japan for 10 days. And every time we like got into a taxi over there, we would see how towards the back, they always had like two screens with like ads going through it continuously. And taxis are a lot cheaper in Japan too. So
No.
yeah.
No, they're very expensive.
No, that is if you rent taxis. Like specific destination services are very cheap.
Really?
Rentals are very
I
expensive.
found them very expensive.
Or rentals are crazy expensive. But if like I'm sure Uber was super cheap.
And Uber is about to get cheaper.
Oh, it is. Yeah, we would love that.
Think about it. If you took the driver out of the equation. So
Yeah.
what is the most expensive part of operating an Uber? The driver.
Having to pay the driver too. Yeah.
Now I take the driver out of the equation. Why does your ride cost so much money anymore?
Tell me if I'm off. This is just something I've been able to put together with the conversation we're having. Do you think that AI could replace a lot of jobs that right now gig workers are doing?
100%.
So what's going to happen to like people that rely on the gig economy? People who are like, for example, like freelance, like creative writers, like people that drive taxis, for example. What could happen to such professions?
I hate to say, but I think there's going to be a period of time where there's going to be a lot of unemployment because of that. And so it's an interesting question. I'll tell you why, because there's another project it's been in some shape or form over the last, I would say, decade, being experimented in different parts of the world, and it's called Universal Basic Pay.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Yes. I think I've
So
read
what do you
it.
know about Universal Basic Pay?
Does that talk about like having? Tell me if I'm off because I've read about this in someone else's textbook. Could this be about having like a floor line for like minimum wage around the world? Or
Not minimum.
or like
wage,
minimum like poverty line? Was it that?
something like
Yeah.
that. But basically, and it's actually quite controversial if you really think about it. But basically, what it does is it bridges the gap between what you're earning and, to your point, what is a living wage, right? So it's intended to bridge that gap. And I think they started the experiment where you got a supplemental income of like $1,000. Now, different experiments. One where they just plain gave you cash. Another experiment where they said some of it will be cash, but the rest of it will be in food coupons.
Okay.
So you can only use it to buy food.
Buy food.
Some of it will be coupons or credits for education, for medical treatments. So different uses.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the reason I'm mentioning that is I think, and why I'm saying it's controversial, if more and more people are unemployed, then what happens to society?
Yeah.
Right? Capital systems will break down, economies will break down. It can also lead to a lot of lawlessness. It's already happening in countries like the UK where the unemployment rate is very high.
Very high.
And therefore, crime is on the increase. So I don't know what the right answer is, but I think what they are trying with universal basic pay could be a viable solution. Now, the reason why I keep calling it controversial is, do you think that could be tomorrow construed as being socialist?
I mean, I feel like could be, because with such projects, obviously you're helping out a lot of people and you're like helping fix a lot of like social issues. You're helping fix the crime rate, you're helping fix like homelessness and like so many, other issues that snowball effect with this. But then there's also the aspect of like, when are we going to be able to put in the work to, for a more long-term solution, bridge this gap instead of like it coming out of a project.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that ultimately that comes back to education, vocational skills, right? Finding some purpose in where you're productively contributing to society. I think all those things are naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
But another interesting phenomenon I've been reading about is, will these technologies also eventually result in less work? I think it's conceivable. Think about it. Because if you look at any job today, what percentage of that job content is repetitive? If it's repetitive,
A machine can do
it can
it.
be automated.
Yeah.
Now, if you can not be doing the repetitive tasks, what is that then going to free you up to do?
And I mean, this is where we have like the big question come in. So this is something I actually read on like Instagram. I'm not even like trying to be smart, but someone on Instagram had said that I don't want AI to like do my writing and do my reading so that I can do my laundry and like my cooking. I want AI to do my laundry and cooking so that I can do my writing and reading. And this brings me to like exactly what you're talking about right now. What kind of like if we were to like have AI or like machinery or technology do like certain portions of our jobs, what is left for us to do in that field?
See, I think the way I see it, at least, what are we all doing? Why does any business exist? To solve a problem.
Yeah.
So I think what ends up happening is, go back to the example we just gave of AlphaFold. So if AlphaFold has discovered 228 million protein structures, isn't that something we need to go figure out?
Yeah.
Where do you go apply 228 million protein structures? What can they do, whether it's to improve human longevity, reduce pollution, carbon footprint, improve food quality and access to food? I'm just saying these are all real world problems we are today dealing with.
Yeah.
So if you're not busy doing your laundry and your laundry just gets done, in fact, heck, what if you came home and your dinner's already made for you?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. If these things are already get done for you, then what are you going to do with your time? Yeah. So I think, to me, I feel, so here's the analogy I would give you. Imagine there are two pilots. One guy flies a small plane. Maybe it's a single prop. Maybe carries 4 passengers, maybe. And another pilot flies the A380 that carries, a few hundred passengers. What do you think is it? By the way, to be a pilot, can we agree it's fundamentally the same?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
But one guy flies a small plane, another guy flies a big plane. What do you think is the difference between these two guys?
Could it be
Pilots? More responsibility. You're going somewhere with that. I like it. What else? No burden.
But I feel like also less
Burden
responsibility.
responsibility same.
Because if you look at like a single prop plane, you're completely in charge of that at all points, right? You don't have like, do you even have cruising mode in those? I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay, then.
Like an autopilot to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty common.
Oh, okay.
It's like a feature in all the software now. Autopilot.
Yeah. Then I feel like it's gonna be what you have said. Like you just have like the more like you have the burden of more lives with you.
But what I want you to focus on is, so first of all, a smaller plane, like I said, is only carrying 4 passengers, like you said. Less payload.
Yeah.
But your journey is also shorter. That plane can't fly as far.
Yeah.
It also can't fly as high. So no matter how high that small plane can go, it only can go so high, which means your view of the horizon and the view of what around you is limited to the height of that plane.
Yeah.
I'm using it as an analogy.
Yeah, wait.
Now, what I'm trying to say is, now imagine if that small plane is the way we used to live before AI.
Yeah.
But now you got all this technology that can automate and do so much for you. Could you conceivably operate at a higher level?
Yeah.
Which means you're seeing more.
Definitely.
You can influence and impact more.
Yeah,
Could you?
definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the way I would look at these new tech.
Yeah.
Right? Right now, I feel we're still stuck on the small plane, so we can't imagine what would the view of the world look like if you were on a bigger plane flying at a higher altitude. It's
Yeah.
hard for everybody to imagine it. But if you could imagine it, what would you see?
And this is exactly, I've heard this so much, that the one thing that our generation we can benefit out of is the fact that AI is putting all of us on an equal footing. That all the differences we might have in our skills, AI like puts all of us at an equal level. And from there we actually have the possibility to do what we want to do and like choose to like be better. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna like go a little more student focused right now. But Notebook LM, can we like talk about that for a minute? Because I love Notebook LM. I've been using it so much the past 1 month, and it's
Sorry,
not
did you
just
catch my email? That
I did. I was so happy. I saw it yesterday. We've gotten the premium subscription for Google's AI.
And Notebook LM was my primary topic.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
I love it so much, and I've realized it's not just me; it's the entire school. And depending on prompt you enter, you can have the most complicated text. Because I use it so much for English class, you can have the most complicated text explained to like a third grader, and you could also have it explained to a 12th grader, if you're able to like put in the right prompt. And because of that, I love what AI has done for education.
You know what I like most about Notebook LM?
Yeah.
Yes, the prompt, and you have to obviously get better at prompt
Yeah.
writing. What I like about it so much more is you can really narrowly focus what you're working on. And you also can decide where it gets its source or knowledge
Yeah.
of what you're working
Because you get to upload your own source
on.
code.
That I love.
Yeah,
Love that. In fact,
definitely.
I'll tell you another interesting feature I've been using of Notebook LM. So I create a bunch of them. So there's one, for example, that I've got, something when I just did. So I did my blood report 2 days ago.
Okay.
So I created one notebook element. I've been saving my medical records for the last, since 1998.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I got a ton of records.
Yeah.
And I digitized all of them years ago. And I also have an Excel spreadsheet where I've been entering all the values since 1998.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a nerd. Not that it's done a whole lot to me, okay? Because my health is still pretty bad according to but it's not very good.
It's okay. So you can analyze the trends now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what was interesting. So I just put my latest blood report, which I just got last night, I put it into it. Here's another interesting feature. So you can put the whole thing in there. And if you notice at the bottom, so you got three windows, right? You got the sources, you got the chat, and you got the studio. Yeah. So in the chat, if you notice, after you put everything in, the first thing it does is provide you like an overview, like a summary.
Yeah.
But then below that, you can then write your prompt.
Yeah.
But usually in the prompt box, it is already given you, it's come up with a prompt of its own that's specific to what it has discovered from your sources, right? Yeah. So I'll tell you the prompt it gave there. The question was something like, something about the history of my health, and based on what the results are saying, is it good, bad, and where am I headed? Something like that the question was. So I clicked it to see what it would come up with. Just now I'm talking about this morning. So I clicked it to see what it would come up with. It came up with a 3-page document. It was not nice to read, let me tell you. It was actually quite alarming to read it. But I noticed something when I scrolled to the very bottom. It gave me the option of saying, to basically save it. Save to note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried that?
Yeah.
So I clicked it and immediately flipped it into the studio as a separate document.
Yeah.
Now you can take that and say, add it as a source. That becomes a source. So what I found interesting is, so it's doing the analysis, taking out the key insights, summarizing it for you, giving you the option to save it for future reference, but then take it and then add it back as a source. I thought that was so interesting that it did that.
Yeah.
Because then you can basically, and because it always tells you where it got each piece of insight, like which source it got it from, over time, you could even trim down your sources and refine how well your notebook performs.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, that did so well.
Okay, I've never tried that and I need to know. That sounds very interesting.
Because that summary is so detailed. Oh my God, it goes into so much detail. Where else did I do it? I did it in three, four different places. And each one of them, I was actually taken aback by the level of detail that I put in there. So I'm so glad to hear you using it.
Yeah.
What about you, Reno? Are you using it?
Yeah.
What are you using it for?
So basically, we have these research papers for chemistry, which we have to do. So we just put the chemistry research paper onto the notebook LM and then summarize it, ask the questions about the research paper. That's mainly it.
So I'm curious again, because you've said as a student, I'm curious, how do you view the role of AI in your life today? I mean, you're going to be students for at least another 4 more years, maybe a few more years.
A lot more years.
So how do you think AI is going to change the way you function as a student? What will change for you because of AI as a student?
I feel mainly a student should know how to use AI before actually, because there are a lot of instances where students just use AI and it comes plagiarized like 100%. So they should not do that. But then AI is like a life-saving tool for, like, it saves time for small tasks and it helps you summarize. It helps you save your time. That's mainly it. I feel the saving time is the best thing for AI.
What do you think?
For me, I feel like, again, I have like two opinions on this. This is a conversation I had with like one of the speakers that came for the FIU summit. And what he told me was that at times, especially if you're trying to study with the help of AI, you need to really add like stop hallucinating into your prompt. And I've like seen the difference after that, because I realized, like, especially like ChatGPT, for me, if I put like over time, because we're students and because of how much we use our ChatGPT, I feel like it's able to understand the kind of responses we like want from it. So for example, like my ChatGPT knows I'm an IB student and I'm studying this and I'm studying that, and this is how I like to formulate my answers, and these are my criterias. I literally have my criterias entered into like my ChatGPT too. But I was noticing that a lot of information I was getting from ChatGPT was obviously very made up and very hallucinated. But ever since I've been able to like put that specific thing, like stop hallucinating, use this, use that, help me come up with this based on that. When I've like been able to like really go specific with my prompt, it's definitely helped me a lot. But then if I were to talk about AI and using it in student life, um, I feel like the last couple of months I've also not actively researched a lot because of that. Where I, for example, used to like be a big Google Scholar like user. If I wanted to like read up a research paper, I used to go up to like Google Scholar and like find appropriate research papers and read those. And there are again two ways to look at this too, where AI could have made this a lot faster for me and made it a lot more accessible for a lot more people. But then at the same time, am I like really like be able to like go in depth with the kind of research I'm doing if I'm just using an AI? So it's like just mainly
I'm so
this.
glad you said that, because I'll tell you what I've been, at least the way I've been concluding its role.
Yeah.
And you're right. It starts with learning how to use it right. I
Yeah.
think the trap or the mistake you can make is if you think of AI as input and output. I want an output, so I'm going to give you an input. Now give me the output. Versus if you thought in terms of, instead of output, you thought of it as an outcome, which is something bigger.
Yeah.
It's not just an answer, but it is more well thought out. It's more comprehensive. I don't know. I'm thinking, like, for example, if you were working on your TOK or your excellent essay, right? You could tell it to write your TOK for you. I'm sure it'll do a pretty decent job. But then guess what? Any AI, filter will catch it, and it will know it's written by AI. So to your point, how do I then, instead of using it for an output, use it for an outcome? Research is a great place to start. But to your point, I don't know if ChatGPT is a place I would go for research. I mean, I think it's already got a bad reputation for hallucinating and doing all those kind of things. But what is ChatGPT great at? ChatGPT is great at analysis, but not at research. So I would say, figure out which tool you're going to use for what purpose, and where does it fit in when you're trying to arrive at an outcome. Like you just discovered Notebook LM.
Yeah.
Great at taking complex texts or concepts and simplifying it. So would you use Notebook LM as a learning tool, or would you use it as a creating tool?
Yeah.
Would you use ChatGPT to create, or would you use ChatGPT only to analyze?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel a year of using ChatGPT, what was I using it primarily for? Simple tasks, summarize meetings. Like I'll tell you one thing that I did, which was very interesting actually, to figure out how to get ChatGPT to do it. This is going back about a year ago.
Yeah.
I did a survey with the teachers. It was a general survey. It was a bunch of stuff. I think I got back about 100 plus responses. And the survey had, I don't know, I think about a dozen questions. So imagine like a
Like
dozen
vastness of
columns,
the, yeah.
dozen columns, and they get 100 plus rows of information.
Yeah.
But the responses were not binary, as in it wasn't yes, no. A lot of them were text, and as in free form text, there was no limit on it. So some people had written a lot, some people not so much.
Yeah.
I was like, man, who's going to read it and analyze it? So I said, let me give it a ChatGPT. And then ChatGPT said, sorry, I can't read a spreadsheet.
Okay.
I was like, what do I do now? So then I said, okay, let me see if I can convert it to PDF. I converted to PDF. That also struggled with it. So then I said, you know what? Let me tell you what it is. I said, it's a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is surveys that I did to my staff. This was the purpose behind it. The columns are this, the rows are this. Now it did a phenomenal job. Oh my God, it was spectacular. Gave me a fantastic 3 or 4 page summary report. It was incredible with takeaways, action items, all of it.
This exact story is taking me back to something so funny. So this is when we were working on the schedule team. Reena, do you remember this? So we had come up with like multiple versions of the schedule, and we were really struggling with. I remember we were discussing this with you too, and that was matching the HS and HSS timetable with the PS and MS timetable. And we had like done so much math, and none of it was working out at a point. So we came up with a great idea of putting this into ChatGPT. So I remember it was me and Reena. We sat down for like a good 15-20 minutes, and we wrote a very long prompt. We like put in all our ideas. We like actually tried to give it a proper input, and then we uploaded our like spreadsheet. It did not take it in. So yeah, so it's good to know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I realized that you had to teach it. Now, back then, Copilot didn't exist.
Yeah.
Now Microsoft Copilot is there. So I don't know. I didn't try, but I wonder what Copilot would have done.
Yeah.
Because it knows its
It knows
spreadsheet.
the
It
spreadsheet.
knows the structure. So maybe it would have required less instruction from me.
Yeah, I've not read Copilot
So-
album. Yeah.
Oh, my daughter loves it. She's just been using it. She's like, I'm a big fan of it. So I want to ask you another question. Have you tried using AI to write the prompt for you?
No.
I've heard about those AIs,
You
but
should
never
try
tried
that.
one.
It's very
Yeah.
interesting. In fact, lately, if I can't come up with a prompt, I'll either tell AI to come up with a prompt, or my favorite way now is I'll just hit the microphone button and I will talk to it.
Yeah.
So my prompt will be like, I mean, if I had to write it, I don't think I could have written such a prompt.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking and I'm thinking about the don't hallucinate, do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
But also think of this. So I'd say all that just talking to it. It transcribes it beautifully. Then you can say, turn that into a prompt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn that into a well-written prompt that has this kind of outcome. It'll do a fantastic job.
Definitely. So I'm definitely going to use that because I've been trying to explore AI. I remember I had a conversation with you, sir, a couple of months ago, and you had mentioned that, AI is a tool, like try using AI like properly and ethically. So I've been actually looking into that ever since. So I'm definitely going to use this. And
I'm so excited to see how you guys are using Notebook.
yeah,
I think by the way, I think Google's done a fantastic job.
Definitely.
Really thinking about, I would say, both the learner and the teacher. I think it has really done a really good job of thinking about what happens in the classroom, where does knowledge come from, how does it get used and applied, and how to then use it for learning. I don't know if I've spoken to you about Khanmigo. Have I spoken to you about Khanmigo?
Nope.
You've heard of Khan Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sal Khan, by the way, interesting backstory. The first sort of company that Sam Altman reached out to was Khan Academy.
Oh, okay.
Actually, to Bill Gates. Actually, the first reached out to
Yeah,
Bill Gates. Bill Gates said, you need to go talk to my friend Sal Khan. So when they first, I'm reading Sal Khan's book. It's a very interesting book about how he created Khanmigo and where does he see AI fitting in the world of education and learning. So what do you do with Khanmigo? Khanmigo is basically Khan Academy, but with an AI front end. And the
Okay.
entire AI front end is based on ChatGPT. And the learning model for it was all the thousands of hours of Khan
Khan
Academy
Academy's information.
content and video that they got.
Oh, I love that. That would be
It
so
is
convenient.
Game changer. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's a game changer. So I've actually written them, I think 3 times now, trying to see if we can get a subscription for our school. I'll tell you where, in fact, now that I've seen Notebook LM and all that, to be honest, I think we could do that even with Notebook LM,
Yeah.
even if we didn't have Khanmigo. But what I find interesting is, especially for remedial, It's incredibly powerful
Yeah.
because it really gets to understand who you are as a learner, which concept you're stuck with, and it can customize your learning profile according to that.
Yeah, I can imagine, because Khan Academy in itself is such a useful tool. I know I've mentioned this so many times this episode, but I just wrote my SATs. So the amount I use Khan Academy, and if I had, and if I hadn't like an AI interface to it, I would love that. Makes so much
It's
sense.
incredible. No, check it out. So
Yeah.
just go on YouTube and just see if you can find a video about Khan
Yeah.
Academy. Actually, watch the video where he's demoing it with his own son.
Oh,
And the kind of prompt he gives it and how it adapts, I'm telling you, it was shocking to me.
yeah.
Honestly shocking. So again, I think the question comes back to, will AI replace the teacher?
Yeah.
Could it replace the teacher? Again, I think the simple answer is no, but I don't think it's as simple as that.
As a no.
I think you can't remove the teacher. However, now the teacher's got to rethink how they approach learning, because you have something powerful like our Lego or any AI tool for that matter. You have to rethink how you teach. You have to rethink what each student is doing in the classroom
Yeah.
and how they learn, what they learn.
What they learn, definitely.
Why should you learn that? What is the sequence in which you learn things?
Yeah.
Right? Again, go back to my analogy of the small plane versus
The big play.
how do I get you from thinking like this to thinking like that?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's where the opportunity is for AI and the way.
AI can be integrated into education, definitely. So I think we've had a very long conversation over here.
Many different directions.
Yeah, like if someone asks me what this episode was about, I would not be able to answer. But
Is that a good answer though?
but I do think that I'm glad that we had this conversation, and I'm sure like if anyone has the patience to like listen to this would definitely like be a very informative episode. I mean, I'm thinking of like the amount I've like heard from you today, so
No, but I would say, if I could just summarize with this statement, right?
yeah,
I think this is such an interesting time to be alive.
yeah,
Right? Especially as a student, I think it's an especially interesting time.
definitely.
I know there's so much anxiety about the job market, all of that stuff, which is real, by the way. I'm not saying it's not real. It's very real. But the reason I say it's interesting is I think all of those challenges present some incredible opportunities for your
Definitely.
generation.
I agree with that so much. Right now we're at a phase where not only are we getting so much information from like our school itself, but we're getting so much from the outside world simply because of the amount of access we have through it. And some people might call it information overload, but at the very same time, as you mentioned, it's just an opportunity for us to actually explore what we like. So I'm loving it. I actually really like what we're doing.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it so much. Yeah, I can't wait to see what these AI tools are going to do
Yeah.
to our community. So today itself, I've heard from 2 teachers.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, more than 2. I think in the last week, I think I've heard from at least half a dozen teachers about all the ways in which they're using AI in the classroom, in quizzes, every grade, even from the youngest children to the to the 12th graders. Everyone's using some version of it.
I'm just going to talk about our school specifically for a minute, because I remember the very first time we had heard of ChatGPT was like 3 years ago. And we had so many like teachers and so many students, like I was completely against. I was like, this is so bad. This is going to like inhibit our thinking. This is going to like turn us all into like, people who can't like think or analyze anything. But if we like look at the way we approached AI in the very beginning versus how like we look at AI right now, I feel like all we've done within these 3 years is truly understand how to facilitate our own learning with the help of AI as a whole community. Because I remember kids up until like 3 years ago, they would like treat having Perplexity open or having like ChatGPT open like such a bad taboo. They were like, "Oh, we saw AI on your laptop screen. How is that allowed?" But look at everyone now. We have actually, hopefully, at least to some extent, as a community, learned how to use AI to our benefit.
So I'll tell you, by the time you guys enter the workforce, in fact, it's one of my favorite topics that I talk about. Imagine having a coworker who's not a human.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Difficult.
But it's going to happen. It's already happening. You've heard of the company Salesforce?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark Benioff, very interesting guy. You should read about him. He is truly a force. Salesforce is an interesting platform. So Salesforce is, fundamentally a CRM, but he's already come out and said he hasn't hired a new software developer for the last 2 years. Now, what is the direction he's heading in? So he, by the way, is one of the pioneers of what's called software as a service, SaaS, right? He's now talking about the death of SaaS. What do you think that means? The death of SaaS?
Companies and people not requiring specific softwares anymore? No.
Essentially, what he's saying is, what is ultimately a SaaS software, any SaaS software? It's basically the workflow of how the business works, right? So what is AI coming and doing? It is automating workflows. Now, I don't know if you've heard this other phrase that's being thrown out in the AI world now. It's called agentic AI. No?
Nope.
So agentic AI or agent AI is basically, think of it like a super specialized AI bot, where each one is already pre-programmed and pre-trained to perform a specific task or a specific set of tasks. Now, let me give you an example. Sorry, I know we're taking a little bit. I just want to finish this point.
Yeah.
If I would ask you, what are the major components of any organization, what would you say?
The major components, that would be obviously like a manager, someone who's like heading the organization. Then there would be
Administration.
the administration, yes. Then there would be like the actual workforce, so the people that actively are there in like whatever work the organization is doing. And then there would be, I mean, is that all? I'm sure there are like the people
So
who are
I'm thinking
involved in
along the lines of HR,
okay, yeah,
finance,
finance, yeah.
maybe there's procurement,
hmm
right?
The more realistic things
There
than what we
there
said.
could also be customer service because you got employees and you got customers. Someone's got to deal with them.
Yeah.
You need a sales team,
Yeah.
right? So think about. I mean, I'm just saying any organization. Typically, these are the major functions. Now, imagine if AI could create a super agent that sat at the top of each one of these departments. Imagine a super specialized HR AI bot. One that's only doing finance, one that only does customer service, one that only does sales.
Yeah.
That's agentic AI. Where all the workflows in that department are being done by a super specialized, highly trained, very knowledgeable, contextually aware, integrated into your business processes. Can I conceivably automate some parts of that department?
Yeah. I mean, you're already doing it with the help of a bot.
Could I conceivably operate that department with fewer humans?
Definitely.
That's agentic AI.
Yeah.
That's the coworker you're going to have in the future, who is an AI bot, highly specialized, highly knowledgeable, obviously, but running with very little direction.
So, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna like joke over here for a minute. So now not only are we like competing with like the sons and daughters of all of our parents' friends, but we're also competing with actual robots.
Believe it, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
And that's gonna be interesting. Let's see.
So the guy who's propagating that is Mark Benioff.
Yeah.
He's one of the forerunners of how he's creating these agentic AIs and how he's implementing them. And ultimately, he already owns one of the world's largest CRM platforms. He's going to start plugging these agentic AIs into it. So there's a very interesting article. If you're interested, I'll send it to you. It was written by, I think, The Economist. And the article is called, Could There Be a $1 billion unicorn with only one employee? What do you think?
One employee.
Might be possible in the future.
I mean,
Think about it. You got a whole bunch of agents.
yeah, we already have agentic AI coming in. You have, I'm sure, like you can add in like something for. I mean, we already have like customer service AIs, and you add in like audience engagement, and you're done. You have an entire company set up.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that.
Can you imagine if that happened in the next, I don't know, 5 years?
Honestly, it might just because we've seen AI like develop so much in the past 3 years. So I'm good.
Those, Richard, my point to you guys is, now I want you to go back to that analogy of how will you get to that altitude,
Yeah.
right? What are all the things you're doing right now that are manually intensive, repetitive in nature, require a lot of research, require a lot of documentation? But if you didn't need to do all of those things, but you had a clear vision of what is the outcome you're trying to get to, and you could subcontract all of these other tasks to these agents, what would you do? How would you think? What would you create?
Yeah.
What kind of impact would you want to have with that kind of a vision?
The only thing I can think of right now is the rate of innovation would increase so much because we would have more resources to like actually like materialize the ideas we're coming up with,
Exactly.
and we would have more time to like work on newer ideas. And I can't imagine, especially for the sciences, what that would hold.
Sciences, yeah, I'll tell you another simple example I keep
Mhm.
using. Imagine if you were J.K. Rowling today.
Yeah.
You're trying to convince people to buy your manuscript and turn it into a book, and 100 people turned you down. I think it was 100 people, right? Something
It
like
was a lot. Yeah.
Oh,
Now, what if today she just said, I got a fantastic script. I'm just going to go to Google, download VO3, and turn my first book into a movie.
Yeah.
I don't need a movie studio. I don't need script writers. I don't need a camera. I don't need a set.
Yeah.
I just need what? I just need my imagination.
Yeah. You already have that.
And I do that with all these tools.
Yeah.
That's what I want you guys to think about. What could AI do for you? What would you do? What would you change in the world if you had that kind of resource available to you?
And I feel like that's the approach we need to AI right now. Because as students, we've been trying to like use AI for learning. But if we like actually start applying it to like, as you said, like bridging, like bringing our plane higher, what are we going to do as like the pilot to like be able to handle that bigger plane?
If you were to raise your visibility of how you see the world or how you see problems, and you're not afraid of complexity, you're not afraid of uncertainty,
Yeah.
what would you do then? How would you approach problem solving? I think that, I feel, is what today's generation's opportunity is.
Yeah. And I feel like, starting all the way from like podcasting and coming like over here to this episode topic, I feel like this is what we've like talked about throughout all of it. Because like we're looking at how podcasts have evolved over time, we're looking at how radio and television has evolved, and now we're looking at like AI, something that we have seen evolve in the last 3 years. And yeah, that is what this episode comes down to in the end.
And the rate of change that
The
happened
rate
is
of
so
change,
much faster.
definitely.
Right, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. from this
Yeah.
conversation. Enjoy it. You didn't say much, dude. Special guest.
Right?
You need to bring him back.
We're gonna get him to end the episode now. We don't talk anymore. Enough. It's yours.
We might need to change the name of the podcast from Tahr Talks to Reenup Talks.
Oh, no, I think we should have that. We should have like, once a year segment. No matter where he never is in the world, he comes back and he talks.
Bring him back for Back to Roots and put him behind what he says. This has been fun. Sorry it took so long.
No, I had a lot of fun. Yeah. We're gonna get Reenup to end this one. Come on, Reenup.
Please, Reenup, wind us down.
So throughout this episode, we've talked about a lot, obviously from podcasting to AI to what God knows what not.
Science.
Yes, science. So I was actually thinking of the title of this episode. I was thinking, do you have any ideas? What can we give?
Jacob's or talks.
I don't know. Evolution. Revolution.
And before we end, we actually have a segment. So we just started this, which whoever's the guest speaker, we ask them something which no one knows about.
Oh yeah, one wacky fact about you.
One.
Oof.
Because we need something to like sensationalize the episode with.
Okay. Maybe somebody knows about it. I don't know, but
Yeah.
The day my wife and I got married, we got married in the morning. We finished that. We went home, changed, got in our car, and we went skydiving.
Oh. So you're starting on a high note. I like that. Yeah.
Get the risk out of the way.
Wait, I actually love that. That's so interesting.
No, it just worked out that way. We were planning to go skydiving anyway, but we just were getting married that morning. It
Wow.
was a total soak.
Okay.
I don't know, that's the kind of answer we were looking for, but yeah, that's what I came.
No, wait, that's so interesting. What? So I didn't expect that. So yeah, Reenav.
And that was Jacobson with us on Tahr Talks.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for joining us this episode. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you to the audience. And we hope to see you next episode, which is our last episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll wait to hear.
The one after this would be our last one.
Nice.
So.
What was it?